Hey, who pushed all these tables together?
Tary.
Oh, you must be Gary's new girl. We haven't met yet. I'm Crenshaw. Gary and the others from DC call me Iggy, so you can too.
Tary.
Very nice to meet you, Tary. Any friend of Gary's is a friend of ours.
Tary?
Not at all. It's fine. Just not used to seeing anyone really give a damn about this place. Those tables haven't been moved since I've been here. What's the occasion?
Tary?
Aw, that's so sweet, Tary. And creative, I'll give it that.
That was very thoughtful of you, Tary. We are honored to be part of your grand opening.
Well, this explains why Gary told me to get down here. Mind if I join you?
Not at all. Please do, Whitworth.
So you're Tary, huh? Nice to meet you.
Tary?
Of course, where are my manners? I'm Whitworth. I live 2 doors down from you. Welcome to the neighborhood.
Tary?
The boom booms, bang bangs, and stabby stabbies. Gary doesn't have much use for my store, but my customers keep him in business. Ha! That's weapons dealer humor.
Tary?
This looks like an entirely new cafe. Very impressive.
Tary?
I agree. This room was in need of a makeover.
God damn, Tary. This is some serious gourmet shit.
Fuck me. I haven't had coffee this good since before the war. How'd you get ground so fresh?
Tary?
Good coffee is essential for morale. I'm glad we finally have some.
Tary made quite the impression during her debriefing with Lieutenant Dan and I. Thank you for bringing her home safely, Lily.
It was my pleasure. And well worth it for coffee like this. So, you guys ever figure out what those raiders wanted with all those vault supplies she had for the department? They were loading them on a boat.
Tary?
Lieutenant Dan reached out to Bunker Hill to try to find out more information on them. We heard back from Kessler. Lieutenant?
If Kessler was a good leader, those raiders would have been dead years ago. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Yes, Kessler relayed some very useful information about this gang. Unsurprisingly, she has dealt with and paid ransoms to them before. Apparently, kidnapping and ransom of paying Bunker Hill customers is their MO, customers who have yet to settle their bills with Bunker Hill. If the customer owes Bunker Hill 1,000 caps, they will ransom their victim for 500, for example, and Kessler usually pays. It would seem, Tary, that your idea of hiring Stockton to move your cargo is what saved you from their other MO.
Tary?
That being if they kidnap someone who doesn't owe Bunker Hill money or Kessler doesn't pay?
Exactly. As raiders are widely known to sell said kidnapping victims to the gunners for 100 caps, everyone assumed for slavers. Kessler's message was delivered in an envelope that contained another message, this one from Lucas Miller. Lucas Miller just happened to be leaving Bunker Hill after one of these failed ransoms, heading north along the coast in his usual route. He saw one of these exchanges take place from a distance. The raiders accessed a door with a keycard and entered. A few minutes later, the raiders came back out without the kidnapping victim and went on their way. But here's why Lucas sent the message. It happened in front of Vault 816, a stop on his route. Occupied by a very cloistered, but rather benign, sect of the Children of Atom.
The Children of Atom ain't into slavery. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're into a lot of wacky shit. But the meat market ain't one of them.
Lucas has access to that vault. He's the only merchant they let in the last few years, and it pisses off the other merchants to no fucking end. None of them could get in to do business, no matter how hard they tried. Now it's starting to make sense. They were trying to hide it from too many eyes.
I may have a dedicated route, but talk to the other caravans on the road. Lucas is famous for being the only merchant they let into that entrance. They let him do business with them when nobody else can even get their foot in the door. Literally. We always thought he might be a closet cultist. Tell me he's not in on it.
That doesn't fit his personality. Lucas, above all else, doesn't want to get involved in trouble. He's not the type to ask questions. He would not compromise a paying customer unless this was a very grave issue for him. He had nothing to gain by sending us that message. That he felt compelled to put his neck on the line and sent a message to us at all speaks volumes about his revulsion to slavery.
I've known Lucas for years, and I've never heard a better description of him than that just there.
Sheriff ain't lying. Lucas has the personality of a dead bloodworm. An ice-cold one. He say anything else? He stopped by to do business?
Tary?
He did, only an hour later. He said nothing looked out of the ordinary on the inside. He didn't see the victims, and he did business with cultists.
This is starting to add up.
It is. The last piece of the puzzle came with the cargo manifest on the boats that Tary's shipment was being transported on.
Cargo manifest? The hell kind of raiders are these? These guys don't even wipe their asses.
I ain't never heard of no raiders keeping a cargo manifest. Most of them can't even read.
The kind of raiders who are dealing with a meticulous and well-funded gunner splinter group that resides in Vault 816. Lieutenant?
The cargo manifest said Tary's shipment was to be brought to Vault 816 for a sizable fee, most likely to restock the occupants. In light of that evidence, we think we know what's going on now, and it supports the assertion that Dunmore has made about gunners in Vault 816. We believe that this Colonel individual is indeed in this vault, that his unit successfully rooted out and exterminated the children of Adam there. In order to avoid suspicion, they've kept up the cult facade. So well, in fact, it fooled Lucas Miller. We know that he had an entire group in Vault 75 devoted solely to kidnapping for the Institute, which was shut down by Crenshaw and Lily's sidekick. We feel he's doing the same with these kidnapping victims. His need for funding only gets more dire with each setback we deal him.
You can say it, Dan. We turned those fuckers into a pile of hamburger in that tunnel. Trapped them like rats in a meat grinder.
That would not be an inaccurate comparison.
This all started years ago when the Gunners decided to try and overthrow Diamond City and occupy it as their new capital. And failed. By now it's safe to assume you've all heard the story of what we did to those Gunners and why they've never attacked since. This colonel was tasked with the operation. He recruited whole families of Gunners to join the assault. The intended new occupants of Gunner City. It would seem we then killed and hung entire families of Gunner POWs, including the colonels when we repelled the assault and sent them a message. Without a shred of irony, he has taken this personally and made it his duty to take out our organization, even splitting from the Gunners to do it. His plan was funded by the Institute in return for kidnapping victims, a task handled by this O'Brien Crenshaw killed in Vault 75. Except O'Brien got greedy and disobeyed orders to stay away from us. Orders intended to keep from arousing our suspicion. His unsanctioned kidnapping of Lily garnered our attention like no other kidnapping victim would. When O'Brien's files were compromised, this colonel had to move up his timetable, which brings us to the herbicide in the cistern water. A dead greenhouse alone could have ended our organization, if not for the electrolytic detectors in the water purifier shutting down delivery. The greenhouse is the lifeblood of our organization and our most important asset, and we were only a few gallons of water from losing it. Measures have been and are being taken to ensure this never happens again. But we're only here because we got lucky, not because we were prepared. Apologies. I am very angry with myself over the entire situation. Moving on. We traced the ID card used to access the cistern to a deputy who was killed on the east side of Boston some months ago. As Lily knew a resident in the area, we sent her to ask questions. She and her sidekick stumbled upon the unit tasked with poisoning the cistern.
And ended 'em like yesterday's news, is what I heard. Good going, Lil.
I'm just sorry I didn't get to hang any of them.
I'm just glad you were okay. The intel Lily recovered revealed the scope of this operation, and a number of other clues, but did not help us locate the Colonel, so we had to wait. The next stage of the Colonel's offensive was the occupancy of the AtomKatz garage as a diversion for attacking our front gate. We were able to take the garage back and repel their assault thanks to some brilliant tactics planned by Dr. McClintock.
She's gonna be the best maid at my wedding.
Maid of honor.
Tary.
Whatever.
It's amazing we get through any briefing, much less these informal ones.
Sorry.
We repelled that attack, due in part to those tactics which let us take the AtomKatz garage with a smaller force. As Lily observed, the attack on our main gate ended with them trapped in a tunnel under the police rationing site. We took no prisoners.
What happened to that one you took? I saw her in the jail cell when we got back with Spears.
Her information proved vital in locating the Dunmores. Once we were sure it was correct, we did what we do to gunners. Which brings us to the Dunmores, where we discovered that the Colonel is residing in Vault 816, most likely having slaughtered the original occupants. These revelations about the raiders that kidnapped Tary, as well as Lucas's message, all support a gunner presence there as well. Confidence is extremely high, and we are done sitting and waiting for him to move.
All right. So, what are we doing?
I have no idea. The place is reportedly a fortress even before you reach the main gate door. The cultists were very concerned about persecution. What I do know is that charging headlong into situations like this and pushing every flashing button we see is never the best approach.
It's always worked for me.
We need to formulate options, unconventional ones. So, if you will all excuse us, Lieutenant Dan and I must meet with Dr. McClintock. Tary, this coffee was superb. We are lucky to have you. I hope you have a successful grand opening.
Tary.
Lily, report to my office with your sidekick in 24 hours. We may need you again.
I get to do the work again? When are you gonna start paying me? Why this time?
We do pay you, and well.
Oh, yeah.
You know how important PSYOPs and public relations are to the functioning of this organization. The general population knows the faces of my lieutenants by design. It serves us well in both diplomatic and military efforts. That makes the two of you my most experienced fighters, with faces the Colonel's men won't instantly recognize. If there's a front to our operation, it will be the two of you. So rest well, enjoy your ample pay, and report to me in 24 hours. Understood?
I got your back, Lily. We all do.
Heck, that's a pretty damn good reason. Okay then, see you tomorrow, Sheriff.
Until tomorrow, then.
So, Tary, you know me and Gary are best buddies, right? You told me a bit about you, but I want to hear your side.
Tary?
Well, I guess at the beginning. Gary doesn't get out much. He's a healer, not a fighter. How did he meet someone from a vault so far away?
Tary!
Really? And that's how you guys met? From hundreds of miles away?
Yeah, it's one of those things that sound like common sense after you hear about it.
Tary!
Hey guys, we heard about a grand opening. Mind if me and Gavin join you?
Tary!
Oh yeah? Sure. Let me make some room.
How's it going, guys?
Evan said we were crowding him, so we're headed over here. He wanted us to know that he's a big boy now and doesn't need a babysitter.
Oh, he's over there right now? I gotta remember to go say hi.
Speaking of, we asked him if being a big boy meant no more bedtime stories. He definitely still wants his stories, so I'm sure he'd appreciate that.
I'll make sure to get one when I say hi then.
Tary was just telling us how she met Gary from so far away.
Oh, yeah? Well, how'd you do that?
Tary!
Really? What?
No shit? And I thought Barb was an out-of-the-box thinker.
Language?
Aw, give me a break, hon. Evan ain't here.
Tary!
See, even Tary agrees. She makes a good point.
Oh, this is such bullshit!
Tary!
Don't sweat it. I'll stop by next time you're at the gate and you can curse for 15 minutes straight. How's that sound?
I appreciate that more than you know.
Hey, you remember that idiot I was talking about the other day? One who dresses up like a security guard and stands behind Dummy Sullivan?
Yeah, the annoying one, right?
You believe he tried to show up dressed as a deputy to a briefing the other day? He got his hands on our fatigues somewhere. He just walked right in the front door and tried to pass Oates like he belonged here. Oates was like, "What the fuck? No, who the hell are you?"
No way!
Yeah, he got plastic surgery again. We only pinned him because of his voice. Oates made him strip off the uniform right then and there. Then he made him walk out the front door in his tidy whities at gunpoint. I thought I was gonna pass out. I was laughing so hard.
Ha! I gotta shake Soak's hand for that one. He's my new hero.
So, Tary, if that's how you met Gary, how'd the two of you, decide to become a thing? At least, when did you know?
Tary!
Well, We came from almost as far north as you, an island called Far Harbor.
Tary?
That's a long story. We were raised in 2 different camps. I was in those weird Children of Atom, because they fed me in exchange for armor work. Gavin was part of the local village, and to say the 2 communities didn't like each other was an understatement. They shot each other on sight.
Tary?
We met by chance. Each of us was away from the community doing our jobs, and, well...
I totally boned her in the woods.
Nice.
Was it a hardwood forest?
Tary!
Oh, Jesus Christ, Gavin!
What? It's the truth.
As I was about to say before being cut off, Tary, Gavin and I met by chance. And there was just... well, you know when you know. And when we saw each other...
I knew it the moment I laid eyes on her. She was taking a bath in a pool, naked as a mole rat, when I stumbled into the clearing.
Ignore him, Tary. The point is, that one chance encounter led to our first planned date, and then another. And don't you say it, Gavin.
A lot of private places out in those woods.
Nice.
Long story short, Tary, we fell in love. We hid it for a good long while, but when I got pregnant with Evan, everything changed. My people would have killed me and the baby. Gavin would have never been allowed to see me again. We had to do something. Everything became about how to save Evan. We booked passage on a boat, captained by someone who wouldn't ask too many questions. It wasn't a pretty trip. He ferried us across the water at the shortest point, took our caps, and told us to get lost. But it was all we needed. His tongue may be as sharp as Lily's, but Gavin here kept us safe and fed for weeks in the open wastes while we made our way down here.
I love you too, hun.
That there's a real nice man, Luna. You hold on to him.
You have no idea, Crenshaw. Him standing over me and Evan while I was giving birth, blasting those synths to hell with Lily.
It's getting a little hot in here.
Tary!
Surprisingly sexy in retrospect, given the circumstances, Tary. Okay, I answered your questions. Maybe a little too thoroughly. Now, how did you and Gary hit it off?
Tary!
Whoa, slow down, Tary. Start at the beginning. We're all friends here.
Tary!
Yeah? And then?
Tary!
Was that before or after the Deathclaw?
Tary!
The entire stronghold? By yourself? Impressive.
Tary!
Well, yeah, that's one of the things latex is used for.
Tary!
A mute fruit? In his head? And you just sewed it back up?
Tary!
Aw, that's so sweet.
Tary!
Ugh, I love Gary's poetry too. So romantic. No wonder you fell for him.
Tary!
Oh, you know what they say. There's someone out there for all of us. You just have to find them.
I always figured it was a matter of finding someone compatible. There's got to be more Garys out there.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. There's only one Gary. And she found him. Just be happy for her.
Yeah, they broke the mold when they made Gary. I guarantee you there's nobody else like Gary out there. He's one of a kind.
Amen. We're lucky to have him.
Tary!
Geez, okay. There's only one Gary. Got it. Don't throw me in the lockup. I just meant more people like him.
So I gotta ask here, Tary. You hired Stockton to move the stuff from your safe house to us? But how'd you get all that to the safe house on your own?
Tary!
Well, that explains that. I'm gonna have you train my scavers. They could learn a thing or two from you.
Tell me about it. She's full of good ideas.
Speaking of my scavers, if you guys will excuse me, I got some boring officer roster shit to do.
Sounds awful. You have fun with that.
It's as boring as it sounds, but the faster I get it done, the faster I can get back out there. See you guys later.
Tary.
Sir.
Later on, Crenshaw.
See you later, Crenshaw.
Tary.
What? Oh, yeah, that's me. I mean, Babs grows the cotton, of course.
Tary?
All the textile operations I learned from my father, rest his soul, at a tannery in Far Harbor. He died when I was maybe 12. Fogcrawler got him.
Tary.
Yeah, he taught me the armor stuff too. I used it to earn my stay with the children of AtomKatz. They had a lot of old military armor to fix up. I don't know how far north you're from, but the cultists up there have some of the best conventional armor caps can buy today. That's all me.
Tary.
No, I never bought into that stuff. I didn't join because I wanted to. I was a young girl, suddenly on her own. They had shelter and hot food.
Tary?
You kidding me? My people are a bunch of inbred xenophobes. She was an outsider on the other side of the island, not one of them. They'd just as soon have let her starve than let another person into that tiny, closed-off community. No, Luna went to the right people to stay alive.
I paid lip service to their weird shit and towed my line in the armory. And they gave me protection and food. Not a bad deal compared to starving to death in the woods, if you ask me.
Tary.
So, Tary, which vault are you from, anyway?
Tary.
Never heard of it. Of course, I'm no vault expert either. Where is it?
Tary.
Dang, that's a long haul. But the Gare Bear's worth it.
Hey, I know where that is. That's way up north in the Annex Zone. I've never been there, but I heard caravans mention it from time to time. And it's still functional? That's only the second one I've ever heard of still working. The other one is Barb's old vault.
That's up north in Canada. That must have been one of the last vaults made. Most were commissioned by the government before the annexation. Probably explains why it's still working.
Tary?
Well, you figure if Vault-Tec had built almost 100 vaults in this country by the time they started on yours, that means they had the time to learn and perfect the technology, materials, and techniques. Vault-Tec didn't half-arse construction, just everything else.
Your ancestors didn't have to go through some sort of ordeal and get chopped into food for a Vault-Tec experiment, did they?
Tary.
What sort of genetic experiments?
Tary.
What's that mean?
It means they made copies of living things, I think. Probably for livestock and crops. I've heard Babs use the term before. We should ask her.
Yeah, that's exactly what it means.
Well, I'm glad you got your ass out of there before they did any weird genetic stuff on you.
Oh, hey, look who it is!
Gary.
Tary!
Hey, neighbor. What's happening?
Tary!
Yeah, you got an amazing girl here, Gary. Definitely a keeper.
Tary!
Yeah, she told us that already. I'm really happy for you, Gare Bear. This looks like it's really working out for you.
Gary.
And we love having you, Tary. And I have to add, this coffee is amazing.
Gary?
England.
Gary?
It's across the ocean, in Europe. Well, what's left of it.
Gary.
I didn't. I came here before the war for a business trip. The bombs delayed my return flight by over 200 years.
Gary.
Yeah, I ain't never heard nobody who sounds like Whitworth either.
Tary!
Whitechapel Charlie. He's about as English as the Chinese. Assembled in Kansas from parts made in Mexico as a Mr. Farmhand he was. The thing talked like a bleeding redneck for 150 years before Hancock uploaded a new personality and put him in the third rail. But there were a lot of countries that used that language. They all sounded a little different. England, Boston, up where Tary's from, you name it. I can even tell you what part of London you're from by your accent. If there was anyone else here from London.
Gary.
Yeah, really bad timing. I was set to fly home the day after the bombs. Instead of seeing my family, I got my green card.
The what now?
Green card. It's what the government gives foreigners to show they're allowed to stay in the country for as long as they want. It's just a bit of a bad joke. It's just been stuck here for 2 centuries. It feels like 100 lifetimes ago sometimes.
Gary?
I was a private contractor for the Foreign Office. Things weren't going well for us back then. The European Commonwealth had dissolved. There was a war with the petrol countries who were strangling Europe out of the market. That only led to more resource wars. It was every country for itself by then. And this country needed weapons badly for its own war. Weapons my government would supply. In fact, this country needed so many weapons that if the Chinese knew just how many we were sending over, they would have nuked us first. That's where my part came in. China warned my country not to supply the weapons, but we supplied them anyway, through unofficial channels. Me. The day before the bombs, I was in the Boston Federal Courthouse to ink a deal for literal shiploads of weapons to this country. Little did I know weapons would be raining down all over the planet before I could finish my trip and get back home.
Gary?
That's exactly why. I was a quartermaster in the military and knew my way around shooters more than most people. It was the only real skill I had after I got discharged for behavior unbecoming of His Majesty's service. It got me a job working for the very active and very profitable contraband arms market, with some rather unsavory characters. Ironically, that's why I got tapped by the Foreign Office. They needed my weapons knowledge and morally flexible contacts. It sounded like a good job to me. Get first-class travel, see where Elvis lived, experience your country for a bit. You know what I mean?
Gary?
Elvis? The king. He was from this country, lived over 300 years ago. He was a singer and songwriter, real popular with the biker gang I ran with. In fact, running with that gang got me into so much trouble, I had to enlist in the military to avoid prison time.
And because McDonough was a dumb fuck, you're with us now.
Fewer fleas up here than in field anyway.
Gary?
Oh. I had 2 beautiful little daughters. My wife was the best mother to them. They were perfect. The sad part is, I think about them every day. But after 2 centuries, I can't remember their faces or the sound of their voices anymore.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Whitworth.
Gary?
I couldn't have said it better myself.
I know. I came to my peace that I'm never going to see him again, alive or dead, a long time ago. Doesn't stop me from wondering, though. Don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for you people. And you're my new family. I never thought the species would last this long after the war, much less be sitting around a table drinking Luxabrew coffee 2 centuries later. You got something nice going on here with this stadium. The greenhouse, food, and those kids. You got some real breathing room. If you want my advice after 200 years, don't let go of that. Keep this as long as you can. Maybe make a few more kids while you're at it.
You old softy. I'd kiss you if it probably wouldn't pull a scab off your head.
Gary?
Tary!
Gary?
Tary!
Gary?
Hey, we're trying to eat here, guys. He didn't say make the kids now. Get a room.
Gary?
Ha! She told you off.
She's got a sharper tongue than you do, Lily.
Not possible.
I gotta agree with Lily here.
Hey, Linda, how's it going?
Hey guys. I was just heading over here to practice. Iggy said something about a grand opening?
Hey, Linda. How's it going? Did you get a chance to use the new rounds I gave you the other day? You like them any?
Hey, Whitworth. Yeah, I did. They're nice and consistent. Gilly spotted for me, and we plinked a few mutants on top of Trinity Tower during lunch.
Trinity Tower? That's over a few couple clicks away in high winds.
I was there. The lieutenant blasted the shit.
We're off duty, Gavin.
Sorry, Linda. Habit. But as I was saying, yeah. I watched through my scope while Linda called out and brained a couple of them. You both do quality work.
Well, they ain't my work, but I've got a line of communication through cricket with the lady who pressed them about a day's travel west of here. Remember that old town where Crenshaw and his crew got the cotton carder and the spinning wheel? It's not far from there. I can tell Cricket to pick up some more if you want. She should still be here in town until tomorrow.
Definitely get 'em while you can. Tell Cricket to clear that merchant out of her stock in that size and put in an order for me. Tomorrow's promised to nobody in this world, so we'll get them while the getting's good.
You got it, Linda.
Gary!
So, you're the one Gary's been telling us all about.
Gary!
Nice to meet you, Tary. I'm Linda, or Lieutenant Harkins for on-duty folks.
Gary!
Snipers. I head up the snipers for the department. Mostly, that involves teaching them to shoot straight and staying awake in a nest for 3 days.
Tary!
Yeah, well, we've known each other for over 10 years now at least. Right, Gary?
Tary.
I'm one of the ones who's been with the sheriff since the start. Can't remember when we met, I was so young. We shared cribs.
Speaking of which...
Oh god, here it comes.
No, I'm done asking you for her name. You guys won't ever give that up. It's like some sort of game for you now. I just have so much trouble picturing the sheriff as a kid.
Yeah, what was that even like?
Frustrating. She won almost everything growing up. First place, top of the class, time and again. The only thing I did better than her was snipe. Some of our less secure classmates came to really resent her for that. Found it easier to be her friend. She's not someone you want to make as an enemy.
She ever, had a guy she liked or anything?
Thought once, maybe. I don't know. There was a guy in Dry Fountain she started spending a lot of time with. He had a daughter she liked.
Oh, that's the town in Pennsylvania, right? Where...
Yeah, that place. The whole thing with the Brotherhood started to unravel after we disobeyed orders and stayed to defend it from gunners. That man and his daughter were killed in that attack. A lot of us were. The burn marks on my face came from the same blast that took off her arm. If there was ever going to be a guy for her, it would have been him. She would have loved that little girl to her last breath.
Gary!
You're right, and that's why we don't talk about it around her.
I still can't imagine her as a little kid, running around with toys and playing games.
She didn't.
That explains a lot.
None of us did, actually. Unless you count cleaning guns, orienteering, and ranging targets for snipers.
That explains a hell of a lot with you guys.
This is why I don't answer your questions more often.
Gary?
No. We weren't allowed. Your life is never your own when you're born into the Brotherhood. You don't realize that at first. Some never realize it. Real sneaky about it, too. You live, eat, breathe, and sleep Brotherhood until you believe you actually want to be there. Most younglings buy into the pride of the Brotherhood thing because they're never really given another option. They don't know any other way. Eventually, even if they realize they were born into it without any choice, they come to believe it's what they would have chosen anyway.
Tary!
It only sucks if you're aware enough to know it sucks. Suppose that's a silver lining, Gary.
Hey guys, Iggy won't shut up about the coffee up here. You got room for one more?
There's my power armor, buddy. Up and around.
Oh, hey, Mark.
Good to see you feeling better, Mark.
Oh, hey, Mark. Yeah, pull up a seat.
Tary!
I promise I'll lay down if I get tired. But I ain't about to miss your girl's grand opening.
Gary!
Of course, it's the least I can do. I'm Mark. Just call me Spears.
Gary?
No, Spears. Plural. There's a S at the end.
Gary?
You got it. Nice to meet you, by the way. And a friend of Gary's is a friend of mine. The man's sold me up at least 3 times by now.
Tary!
5? Are you serious?
Tary.
I remember all 5 of the ones he's talking about, Mark. Sorry.
Well, that just means I'm tougher, is all. What are you guys talking about anyway?
They're pressing me to spill info on the sheriff. Again.
Oh, is that what today is?
Yeah, so it's your turn to deal with them. Came here to practice anyway.
You're playing, Linda? Nice.
I am indeed. So if you'll excuse me, I'll be right over there.
Gary?
Oh, yeah. Most of the Brotherhood officers know an instrument. Or at least they used to before they gave it up after graduation. It's part of the classical military training. Lyndon just never gave up practicing her instrument like the rest of us did. Hell, she even learned a couple more.
Gary!
It's very impressive. She relieved a lot of stress and passed a lot of time for the entire squad over the years doing that. It feels like home.
Gary?
I head up the mechanized units. I'm the power armor guy.
Spears likes power armor almost as much as me. Almost. He really tricked out my whip.
Gary!
Oh, it means he put a lot of mods on my frame and shell. When your job is to keep the rest of the department in power armor, your own set quickly becomes the most important one of the bunch.
Oh God, here it comes. Never ask Lily about her power armor, Tary.
Hey, Lily, why don't you go pay Evan a visit before you get to talking about your power armor and can't stop?
Well, that's one way to tell me to shut up, I suppose. And a damn effective one. Little guy's in his room, you said?
Yep, he's a big boy now. He's even taking visitors. Maybe you'll get lucky and he can pencil you in.
Yeah, go visit him while we get the dirt on you from your sidekick here.
Hey, I'll have you know, being an independent contractor for me is one of the most sought-after jobs in the Commonwealth.
Yeah, if you're into suicide. I don't know where you keep digging these people up.
Parole office. Now, excuse me, I have a date with Evan. I'll be next door. Catch up with me when these guys are done interrogating you. Don't give away no trade secrets now. Beautiful song, Linda. Thanks for playing it.
My pleasure, Lily. See you later.
Sounds like a good time to make my exit as well. Thank you all for the company. This was excellent coffee, Tary. Given the state of the world today, it might very well be the best coffee in the world. Well done.
Gary!
See you later, Whitworth.
Tary.
Thanks for sharing the story, Whitworth. See you tomorrow.
Take care, my man. Thanks for showing up.
Gary!
Tary.
If he asks, tell Evan we won't be much longer.
Gary?
This is delicious coffee. How do you brew it?
Gary!
Nobody here is gonna give it to you straight. But you've signed up for one of the most dangerous jobs in Boston. I love her to pieces, but Lily's fucking crazy. I have no idea how she stayed alive this long. I just know her sidekicks never do.
Tary.
I've known her for a while. She's the fucking luckiest person to ever walk the face of the earth. Born under a good sign or something.
Probably has a guardian angel to boot.
She has a guardian angel, a T-53 Mach 6 power armor lining, a targeting software suite with eyepiece, and a second-gen EXC-17 servos in her frame. The sheriff is pretty clear about where we put the resources. Lily could hug a mini-nuke when it went off, or bench press a bus, no problem. I can guarantee you no other power armor I've seen in all my years has 2 fusion cores for ripping a turret off a tank or throwing boulders. Best single unit I ever made, including Brotherhood elders and the sheriff's power armors.
Gary!
Yeah, that's a pretty damn good guardian angel.
So you roll with enough of us now. What do you think of our little organization? I hope we made an impression.
Why is the sheriff such a jerk to me?
The one who had me outfit a T-60 with scuba gear and all the bells and whistles for you without you even needing to ask? You mean that jerk? The one who gave you green zone access and the biggest room in the house on Lily's word? Because I want to make sure we're talking about the same jerk. You're coming up against the famous Sheriff Dry Humor, buddy. That means she likes the job you're doing. Not everybody gets that treatment. You have to work with her for a while to get on the same wavelength, if you know what I mean. She lets Oaks handle most of the new visitors. You wouldn't be here or at any of these briefings if she didn't think you could keep your powder dry. I know it's hard to believe, but that is her joking around. I don't know how she keeps a straight stone face the whole time.
You think I'm deputy material?
Probably not, but that's only because nobody here knows you. The sheriff is real big on loyalty. She has to be with all the synth activity.
I might have hooked up with the wrong outfit here.
Nobody's forcing you to be here. That's the Brotherhood you're thinking of. Door to the south is the fastest exit.
Tary?
Gary!
Tary? Tary?
You too, Gary. Take care.
Later on, Gary.
Bye, Gary.
So Iggy says you guys struck pay dirt on the gunner that poisoned our water and took the AtomKatz hostage, huh?
News really travels fast around here.
Iggy was pretty excited is all. We keep having to react to this gunner asshole instead of taking the fight to him. That's not who we are. But yeah, news like this travels fast.
It's top secret. I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you.
Better get busy then. Iggy told me pretty much everything.
Yeah, there were some ex-gunners in Nuka World who hate the sheriff, but talked.
Yeah, Iggy said as much. He told me about this situation in history. I can't say as I have much sympathy. They started it.
Yeah, he's in Vault 816. The briefing is tomorrow.
That's what Iggy said. Something about a giant vault that used to be inhabited by the children of Adam.
Tary?
816.
Tary.
I agree, it is an odd number. Well, it's an even number, but it's definitely outside the recognized government range.
Tary.
I don't suppose it made the trip with you from your vault?
Tary.
You give Lieutenant Dan enough time, he'll probably find out more about it. But we ain't got that kind of time. Those gunners are gonna keep hitting us again and again until we put a stop to them. They've been beaten by us I don't know how many times. They just don't learn. Whatever the vault was for, we'll just have to wait until we can reach some terminals inside the place.
Doesn't matter what it was for. It's about freaking time we moved. I know I'm not the only one who's had it up to here with these gunner attacks.
I have to agree with Gavin. I think most of us do.
Speaking of moving, Gavin, I believe you promised me some time in the greenhouse.
You're right, I did. Let's get going before I get started on another rant.
See you later, guys. Tell Bob I said awesome planning with the AtomKatz garage.
Tary.
Easily the best coffee I've ever had, Tary. I'm glad you're here with us.
I have to agree. See you around, neighbor.
Beautiful music as always, Linda. Thank you.
Of course. Enjoy the greenhouse.
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce too. I still got a lot of repairs to do after all the fire folks took in the Mass Pike Tunnel.
Tary.
Congrats on the grand opening, Tary. And yeah, this coffee is the best. You're gonna fit in here just fine.
Tary.
That's my reminder to get back to work too, Tary. I agree with everyone else. That was the best coffee I've ever had. Gary deserves to be happy. So do you. I'm glad you're here.
Wow, that was a great story, Aunt Lily. What happened to the other three pigs?
Well, the wolf walked right into Quincy Pig's front door, because the guard was drunk and feeling sorry for himself, wishing it was like old times. The wolves got rid of Quincy, and just like that, they moved into his house. Little Bunker Hill tried to pay off the wolves, give him money not to hurt him. The wolves kept coming back and demanding more money. So Bunker Hill never really got rid of his problem. One day the wolves are gonna ask for more money than that little piggy has. And that won't be a good day for Bunker Hill, his friends, or his house. And the most successful pig, Little University Point, got into trouble with a different and much stronger wolf. He never gave up and fought as hard as he could. But Quincy Pig screwed him over and never showed up to help. In the end, University Point, well, I guess he burned down his own house with him and the wolf inside rather than give it up. Not bad if you ask me.
Tell me about the fourth pig again.
You like him, huh? He's my favorite too. Remember what the pig did when the wolves showed up at his door, right?
I sure do.
Well, when the Diamond City Pig was done with the wolves, he had a little work to do to make sure they never came back. He got the very same nail gun and chainsaw he used on the wolves, and he took all those wolf bodies and he built his house out of wolf skulls. It might not have been as sturdy as the one made of brick, but it sent a message, and the wolves never ever tried to blow it down. In fact, the wolves never entered that pig's zip code or harassed any of his friends ever again. The end. Now, remember what I told you about bullies when the story started? What does this story teach us, Evan?
Don't ever start the trouble, but always be the one who ends it. Right?
That's what makes us the good guys. Sort of. But what else did I say about finishing fights? Think real hard.
Tell them the message?
Good enough. Remember I said to finish everything with that first fight and you won't have to fight the bully ever again? That's the message.
Oh yeah.
You'll figure it out one day. For now, if someone bullies you, you hit him as hard as you can, and keep hitting him until someone pulls you off.
I will, Aunt Lily.
Gotta go now, Evan. Remember, you're in charge until Mom and Dad get back, okay?
I got it under control. Don't you worry.
Hi.
Hey, what's up? Coffee's all done?
Sgt McGilly thinks you're certifiably crazy.
Yeah, McGilly. 3/4 of Diamond City, every raider, and half a good neighbor. My reputation is no accident, trust me. I work on it. It finishes 3/4 of fights before they ever get started.
You have some weird friends.
Watch your mouth. Family. I have weird family. Remember that.
Yeah, let's hang out until the briefing.
Sounds good. Let me jump into my can first and we'll roll.
Bye, Aunt Lily. I love you.
Aw, you're making my heart melt. Love you too, Evan. Remember to stay safe.